Hello everyone, my name is Vanessa. The name of my channel is called Gnostic Knowledge, and I am back to continue reading in chapter 20, Murder by Numbers, the Gematria Killing Code. And I am on page 563, and I am going to begin this reading with the death of Bear Bryant. And that is what I'm doing on this channel. I am reading from a book. The name of that book is called Letters and Numbers, written by Zachry K. Hubbard. And you can get a copy of this book by visiting Zachry K. Hubbard's YouTube channels, Gematria Effect News or Gematria Effect Sports. And in the description of each of the videos that he produces, he leaves a link for you to purchase the book. The book will come to you via email as a PDF file, so when you get the file, make sure you save it to your hard drive of your phone, your laptop, tablet, computer, what have you, so that you'll have access to the book later. He left the copyright off this book so that you could take it to a bindery and have it bound into a book for your own personal library. There's over 700 pages in this book, so it is good to keep it as an electronic file so that you can easily search for information within the book. Zachry K. Hubbard also wrote a second book, and that book is called Number Games. And this book is now available on Amazon as a pre-order. And the book, once you order it, it will be released on October 13th. October 13th. So yes, this book is the continuation of his first book of Letters and Numbers, and it is from 9/11 to coronavirus, and I'm sure he will be writing more books. But if you don't want to order the book off Amazon, you can order it directly from Zachry K. Hubbard's blog page, gematriaeffectnews.blogspot.com. And when you get there, that's the first thing you'll see is the advertising for the book. And as you scroll down, you will see the information on how to purchase the book. Be sure to purchase the book within the United States and abroad. And make sure to read the blogs on there. They're very informative, and it's showing you exactly what Gematria is, and that is what his books are about. Letters and Numbers and Number Games is about Gematria. Gematria is the encoding of numbers within our letters and words. Every word we speak has a numerical value, and once you understand what Gematria is and how it is used, you will begin to see clearly what's going on. He also has another blog page that he was previous to the one he has now, called freetofindtruth.blogspot.com, and he had been blogging there for over 5 years, so there's a massive amount of content for you to read there. But to understand exactly what Gematria is, read the book Letters and Numbers as well as Number Games, which I intend to do also on this channel. Once I am finished with Letters and Numbers, I will read the book Number Games as well. And I'm really doing this for people who maybe don't have the time to read, or don't want to read for whatever reason. But this information, every human being on this earth needs to know this information. And with that said, I am going to continue in chapter 20 on page 563. And again, the name of this chapter is called Murder by Numbers, the Gematria Killing Code. And the next death we're talking about is Bear Bryant. And he was born September 11th, 1913, and died January 26th, 1983. Same day Kobe Bryant died this year. Bear Bryant. Okay, Kobe Bryant, Bear Bryant. Yeah. Bear Bryant, considered one of the greatest college football coaches of all time, would die on the 26th day of the year in 83, of the year of 83. Consider both football and murder share gematria of 83. Even more, the names Bear and Bryant have gematria of 26. A very special number, as we learned about in the first chapter. His death came 137 days after his birthday, the 33rd prime. That is fascinating because he coached his last game in Tennessee, having Gematria of 137. That game was the Liberty Bowl, December 29th, 1982, where his Alabama Crimson Tide beat Illinois. After the game, he said he was retiring and would probably croak in a week. Not too far off, he died a span of 29 days later, connecting to the reduction gematria of football. Also worth mentioning, he died at age 69, connecting to the reverse reduction gematria of Crimson Tide, the team he coached from 1958 to 1982. All right. Next up, Marvin Gaye, April 2nd, 1940 to April 1st, 1984. And I remember when his death was announced. Yep. Marvin Gaye, the Motown sensation, was reportedly gunned down by his father his last day of being 44 years old in the year 84. Recall, the divisors of the number 44 sum to 84, as we learned about with President Obama, a surname summing to 84 in Jewish gematria, the 44th U.S. president who ran on hope, a word having ordinal gematria of 44. Excuse me. All right. As we have also learned, the number 44 has been fateful in black history, including the deaths of MLK and Malcolm X, which both came by gunshot. Again, shooting and kill share gematria of 44. At the same time, African American sums to 44 in septenary cipher. Okay. As for the killer, that was Marvin Pentz, P-E-N-T-Z, Gaye Sr. Marvin Pentz Gaye Sr. A name summing to 84 like his son. Marvin Gaye Pentz Jr., who added an E to his last name when he became a star. Also, worth mentioning is that Marvin Gaye Sr. sums to 147 in ordinal, similar to killing in Frank Baconis, and Marvin Gaye alone sums to 47 in reduction. As we have covered, there is a relationship between the two numbers 47 and 147, and they are large and in charge in the killing of Roger Troutman and his brother, another musician who is said to have been killed at the hands of his own family. Still ahead. Also, think about how Motown was established in 59 on the 42nd parallel north in Detroit, and how the man seen as the Prince of Motown, Marvin, was born on 4/2, April 2nd. Even more, his full name, Marvin Pentz Gaye Jr., has a reverse ordinal value of 213, the number connecting to Black History Month as well as death. Wow. Benji, B-E-N-J-I, Benji Wilson, March 18, 1967, November 21st, 1984. Okay? He was considered the best high school basketball player in the country. Ben Wilson would die prematurely at age 17 after being shot during an argument. The date of the shooting was November 20th, 1984, 118 days before his birthday. And he died the next day, a span of 118 days from his 18th birthday. As you know, the word death has Jewish gematria of 118. Also fascinating, he was shot 247 days after his birthday, and his full name, Ben Wilson Jr., has an ordinal value of 247. And that's with Junior written out Junior. Okay? In light of him being killed in his home city of Chicago, it should be noted that his death came a span of 156 days from Michael Jordan being drafted by the hometown Bulls, June 19, 1984. As you have learned, the name Michael has a reduction value of 33, and when you write out 33 as a word, it sums to 156 in the ordinal cipher. The reason Benji was chosen was likely for his birth year 67, the number of blood sacrifice, but in this case also connecting to the reduction gematria of North Carolina, where the Bulls selected Jordan from. Okay. Now, Pee Wee Creighton, and I'm not sure who this is. Pee Wee Creighton, December 18th. That's why 1914. That's why I don't know who it is. Let me start over. Pee Wee Creighton, December 18th, 1914 to June 25th, 1985. Okay. Pee Wee Creighton, the guitarist, who's said to be one of B.B. King's greatest influences. He would die 189 days from his 70th birthday, on the day leaving 189 days left in the year, from a heart attack, a cause of death having reversed ordinal gematria of 189. As we have covered, that number also connects to resurrection and reincarnation, as well as Freemasonic. Also, we have learned there are 189 mentions of gold in the Bible, and gold symbolizes the sun. Consider his birth name, Connie Curtis Creighton. It has reduction gematria of 93, like the distance in millions of miles from the earth to the sun. Even more, he was born December 18th, a date having gematria of 93 in reduction. He passed just after the summer solstice, and December 18th was written as words, okay? Lynn Bias. Wow, I remember Lynn Bias. Okay. Lynn Bias, November 18, 1963 to June 19, 1986. Wow. 2 days after becoming the second pick of the NBA draft by the Boston Celtics, which was held June 17, 1986, Lynn Bias would die from a drug overdose. He was 22 years old at the time of his passing, the number connecting to the gematria of basketball and Boston. Not by chance, his death came 213 days after his birthday, the number connecting to death, as well as the NBA Finals, which the Celtics had just won June 8th. 11 days earlier. An important note is that 1986 was the first year of the name the NBA Finals. Further connecting his death to the Celtics is the fact that Celtics sums to 71 in ordinal. Leonard Kevin Bias sums to 71 in reduction. Leonard Bias sums to 71 in reverse reduction, and his place of death, Washington Hall, sums to 71 in reverse reduction as well. Even more, the man accused of giving him the cocaine that took his life, Brian Lee Tribble is a name having reduction gematria of 71. For one more, Landover, Maryland also had reduction gematria of 71, where Bias was born. Consider that Maryland was once part of the Catholic colony, where Catholic has ordinal gematria of 71. In light of his death coming so close to the Celtics winning the championship, it should be noted that the NBA Finals sums to 322 in Jewish gematria, and Len Bias was born on November 18th, the 322nd day of the year. Even more, the NBA Finals sums to 111 in the ordinal gematria, and Len Bias was born on a date with numerology of 111 and died on a date with numerology of 111. As for his name gematria, Len Bias, Lenbias, Len Bias sums to 46 and 62 like sacrifice, as well as 26 like Celtics. The place of his death, Riverdale Park, adds to the ritual, summing to 68 and 85 like basketball. If you write Riverdale Park, Maryland, it has gematria of 228, corresponding with death. Consider Len Bias wore number 34 at Maryland, where he attended college, the number connecting to murder as well as Maryland. Also, don't overlook, he died in 86. He died in 86, connecting to the gematria of blood sacrifice. Worth mentioning is that 30 years after his death, June 19, 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers would defeat the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals, which happened to be the real King James' birthday. They call LeBron James King James. This matters because the year Len Bias was drafted into the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers had the number 1 pick and the Golden State Warriors had the number 3 pick. Thus, they were the selections surrounding the Celtics, taking Len Bias second overall. As you'll come to understand in the next chapter, sports are entirely scripted, and the script is always continuing off of what came prior to it. Building on past seasons. Wow, this stuff is just, man. Okay, this stuff is just really mind-blowing. And I forgot to take this thing off my wrist earlier. So I can get that off. Okay. Cliff Burton. February 10th, 1962, September 27th, 1986. And I don't know who this is either, but I shall find out. Born Clifford Lee Burton, a name having gematria of 86, corresponding with blood sacrifice. He would die in 86 on the Jesuit order's birthday. Fittingly, he was on the Master of Puppets tour with Metallica, having gematria of 78, the same as Jesuit, when he was involved in the fatal bus crash in Sweden that took his life, which all other members of the band survived. Yeah, right. So what happened? Master of Puppets also sums to 210 in ordinal, corresponding with his birthday, February 10th, or 211. And consider the word Jesuit has reduction gematria of 21, as well as reverse reduction gematria of 42, connecting to the numerology of the date of his passing, 9/27/1986. You would add 9 plus 2 plus 7 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 6. That equates to 42. Bus equates to 42 in the ordinal cipher. Also intriguing, Metallica sums to 229 in the primes cipher. And he died, 229 days after his birthday. 229 is the 50th prime. Wow. Even more, the lead singer of the band, James Hetfield, and that's Hetfield, James Hetfield, has reduction gematria of 54, the same as Cliff Burton and Jesuit order, and he died 55 days after Hetfield's birthday, the number connecting to sacrifice, Satan, and basis. This is why Metallica is really unforgiven. Wow. Amazing. Peter Tosh, October 19th, 1944. September 11th, 1987. Wow. Peter Tosh was the next most famous member of the Wailers after Bob Marley. In the same way Marley died on a date corresponding with Saturn, so did Peter Tosh, who passed on September 11th or 11/9, where Saturn equates to 119 in the Francis Bacon Gematria cipher. You'll notice his birthday of October 19th or 10/19 wasn't too far off the mark either. Absolutely. Because you don't count the zeros, that looks just like 119, his birthday, 10/19, ignore the 0, 119, all CNI. Okay, it reminds that the word Rastafari also equates to 119 in Francis Bacon Gematria, and reggae sums to 119 in reverse ordinal. Adding to the Saturn riddles, Tosh died at age 42, connecting to the reverse reduction gematria of the planet, as well as the name of their group, Wailers, plus the ugly stamp on Black history, 42. Absolutely. Peter Tosh's date of passing came 38 days before his 43rd birthday, dying in Jamaica. In addition to 38 connecting to death, murder, and killing, it also connects to Jamaica and Africa. Further, his hometown in which he died, Kingston, Jamaica, also shares gematria of 96 and 147, connecting back to the word Freemason, as we have also learned. The word killing possesses gematria of 147. As for him dying just before turning 43 years old, the word reggae has ordinal gematria of 43. And for one last point, his date of passing had numerology of 36, connecting to Bob's age of death, as well as Jamaica, again having gematria of 151, the 36th prime number. To close, I'll leave you with some well-spoken words by Mr. Tosh. The fooling days are over. You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Thank you. Yeah, because this is just crazy. And you can't tell me you don't see these patterns. You can't tell me you don't understand what is truly happening. These people are being murdered, and that's just all it is. If they know the code or not, I doubt it. Some do, but I think a lot of them don't know. And I was telling someone I think they have to know the code, but maybe they didn't know. And the ones that are privy to it, I don't know. I'll leave that up to you to decide. But man, it's amazing. If they're willing participants, I just don't understand that. I don't see that taking place. But hey, I could be wrong, but we know This code is nonetheless being orchestrated. It is happening, and it is not organic. That I know for sure. Okay, moving right along. Keith Whitley, July 1st, 1955. May 9th, 1989. Okay. Keith Whitley began his country music recording career in Nashville, Tennessee in 1983. A year that no doubt marked his demise, soon to come at age 33. Corresponding with the septenary gematria of Nashville and the reversed reduction of Whitley. On the night of his death, it would be blamed on alcohol intoxication. As you learned, not only did the prohibition of alcohol end in the year 33, but the word itself has reverse reduction gematria of 33 to boot. On the date of his passing, May 9th, or 5/9, not unlike 59, it was a span of 74 days from the 62nd birthday of Ralph Stanley, which was celebrated February 25th, 1989. Of course, it was Stanley, a name having gematria of 33, who gave Keith Whitley his start in the music industry. In the long history of murder by numbers, the suspicious deaths of one person are often for the continued success. Let me reread that. In the long history of murder by numbers, the suspicious deaths of one person are often the continued success of another. Also, the date Whitley passed was one with numerology of 103, the 27th prime number. And I do know Keith Whitley's music, and I am going to look that up really quick. Keithwhit. Keith Whitley. What was this song that he had? Yeah, this is him. I just can't remember the song, but I didn't know this man was dead, but when I heard his song, I was like, wow, I didn't know that was him. Oh, When You Say Nothing at All, I think. Yep, that was a song, When You Say Nothing at All. But I had no idea that he had been dead since 1989. And, and I do enjoy some country music. I like any good music if it's, and I like the ones telling a story. But When You Say Nothing at All by Keith Whitley, if you haven't listened to the song, I would. It's a beautiful song. And that's it. But moving right along, we're going next to Huey P. Newton, February 17th, 1942 to August 22nd, 1989. Wow, what was I doing in 89? I know I was a mom by then, but I don't remember this story. I thought, for whatever reason, it seemed like Huey P. Newton died in the 50s or 60s, but he died in 1989, or maybe I'm thinking about the other gentleman that was with him, the other Black Panther. Here we go. Huey P. Newton, the founder of the Black Panther Party in Oakland, would die on his 187th day of being 47 years old. Consider, time has ordinal gematria of 47 and satanic gematria of 187. More importantly, his death was the result of a homicide said to be caused by a drug buy gone bad. And in California, 187 is the police code for homicide. Further, his date of passing, August 22nd, can be expressed as 22/8, much like 228, corresponding with the Sumerian gematria of death. Equally as interesting, August 22nd leaves 131 days left in the year and Huey P. Newton has reversed ordinal gematria of 131. I mean, what are the odds? It should also be noted that using the base ciphers, both Huey P. Newton and Oakland equate to 41 and 58. And last, his full name, Huey Percy Newton, sums to 217 in ordinal, similar to the date of his date of birth, 2/17, February 17th. Thus, from birth until death, his life was by the numbers, as is true of so many in the history books, and that is absolutely freaking right. It's crazy. Andrew Wood, January 8th, 1990 to March 19th, 1990. Andrew Wood would die 70 days after his birthday, a number connecting to his band name Mother Love. His death was blamed on a heroin overdose, having gematria to match the location where he died, Seattle, both summing to 82. For yet another connection to the city. Let me see what this man's birthday really is. Andrew Wood. Let me see here. Andrew Wood of Mother Love Bone.
According to Wikipedia, Andrew Patrick Wood was an American musician best known as the lead singer and lyricist for the alternative rock bands Malfunction and Mother Love Bone.
He was born January 8th, 1966. Okay, January 8th, 1966, and he died March 19th, 1990 in Seattle, Washington. Okay, so Andrew Wood would die 70 days after his birthday, a number connecting to his band name Mother Love Bone. His death was blamed on a heroin overdose, having gematria to match the location where he died, Seattle, both summing to 82. Heroin overdose and Seattle equates to 82. For yet another connection to the city, located on the 122nd Meridian West, the name Andrew Wood equates to 122. It was his death that opened the door for Eddie Vedder, who became the new singer of the band that would soon be known as Pearl Jam. Consider Andrew Wood's death came on Vedder's 86th day of being 25 years old. As for the date of Andrew Wood's passing, it was March 19th, which can be expressed as 319, similar to 319, connecting to Masonic and killing in Satanic Gematria, or 193, similar to 193, the 44th prime, where the number 44 connects to kill. Notice also his birthday, January 8, which can be expressed as 81, a lot like 81, the ritual number. My goodness. David Ruffin, January 18, 1941 to June 1st, 1991. David Ruffin, known as being part of the Classic Five of the Temptations, would die unexpectedly in what was blamed on a cocaine overdose. The funny thing is he died on the 152nd day of the year, and Temptations has an ordinal value of 152. June 1st is also the 150, and June 1st is also the day, leaving 213 days left in the year. Again, in Satanic Gematria, the word death sums to 213, and it is a number many young black men have died in relation to throughout history, as we'll come to understand as we progress. Also noteworthy, the name Ruffin has an ordinal value of 74, and he died 33 weeks before his upcoming birthday. We've covered the relationship between 74 and 33 and men with hair of wool before. Consider further, the Temptations' big hit was My Girl, having a reverse reduction value of 33. All right. Marlene Dietrich, December 27, 1901 to May 6, 1992. Okay. The actress who made her debut on the big stage in 1923, 69 years prior to her death, would be taken by the numbers at the age of 90. Sadly, it is not uncommon for the elderly to be murdered by the code in the same way the young are. Born Marie Magdalene Dietrich, a name summing to 131 in reverse reduction, she would die 131 days after her 90th birthday. This is interesting because her stage name, Marlene Dietrich, and Dietrich is spelled Dietrich. So Marlene Dietrich equates to 90 in reverse reduction, her age of passing. As for dying on May 5th or 5/6, she would depart this earth while staying in Paris, France, summing to 56 in reduction, a number not unlike the date. Wow. Jerome Brown, February 4th, 1965, till June 25th, 1992. Jerome Brown, a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, was ritualistically sacrificed for Super Bowl 27 at age 27. Excuse me, my nose just keeps itching the tip. Wow. Okay, I'm going to reread that. Jerome Brown, February 4th, 1965, June 25th, 1992. Okay. Jerome Brown, a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, was ritually sacrificed for Super Bowl 27 at age 27, along with his 12-year-old nephew, in what was blamed on a high-speed car crash. In addition to the word ritual having reduction gematria of 27, the name Brown has reduction and reverse reduction gematria of 27, making him the ideal candidate for such a devilish deed. Further, the date of his fateful crash was precisely 220 days before Super Bowl 27, January 31st, 1993. Consider, National Football League has an ordinal value of 220. At the same time, he played for the Philadelphia Eagles, having reverse reduction gematria of 93, matching the year of the big game. 25 years later, in 2018, the same Philadelphia Eagles would win their first Super Bowl on what would have been Willie Brown's 53rd birthday, winning the 27th Super Bowl all-time for the NFC. In that win, coming on the 93rd meridian of Minneapolis, Minnesota, a location having a reduction gematria of 93, it made Tom Brady considered one of the league's greatest quarterbacks, 5-3 in Super Bowls. Excuse me. At the same time, Pennsylvania, the home of the Eagles, has reduction gematria of 53, same as Vesica Pisces. What is the shape of the football that we learned about in the chapter on sacred geometry? In light of Willie's 12-year-old nephew dying with him, the Eagles became 1-2 in Super Bowls in 2018 after defeating Tom, summing to 12 in reduction. The MVP, summing to 12 in reverse reduction, who also wore the number 12 on his jersey. And yes, sadly, things really are this scripted and contrived. Not only was the ritual synced up with the NFL championships of 1993 and 2018, it was coordinated perfectly with Willie Brown's birthday. First, you must know he was born Willie Jerome Brown III, having a reduction value of 118, connecting to death. Second, the name Willie Brown has an ordinal value of 142, and he died on a date with numerology of 142, 142 days after his February 4th or 4-2 birthday. Please recall from earlier, when you write out 42 as a word, it sums to 42. It sums to 142, forgive me. When you write out 42 as a word, it sums to 142. Of course, Willie was a young black man. And for one last point, he died in the town he died in, which was also his place of birth. Brooksville has gematria of 67, corresponding with blood sacrifice. Woo! Oh my goodness. Audrey Hepburn, May 4th, 1929 to January 20th, 1993. Appendix cancer was said to be the premature cause of the death for the acting sensation Audrey Hepburn, who passed on January 20th, 1993, 15 weeks shy of her 64th birthday. Let us examine how her cause of death corresponded with the numerology of her date of passing, which was far from coincidental. So, appendix cancer equates to 133 in the ordinal cipher. The date 1/20/1993. You add 1 plus 20 plus 19 plus 93. That equates to 133. Wow, that says it all. Wow. Strangely enough, when you write out 133, it sums to 120 in reduction gematria, not unlike the date January 20th or 120. As you know, in ordinal gematria, Illuminati also sums to 120. Also connecting to the date was the story of her acting career, where she took a break from the silver screen in 1967, saying she wanted to dedicate more time to her family. Interestingly, the word female has Jewish gematria of 67, and International Women's Day is celebrated each year on the 67th day. More importantly, her acting name, Audrey Hepburn, has reverse reduction gematria of 67, the number connected to blood sacrifice, bringing it back to the date January 20th, written as words, has septenary gematria of 67. January 20th, written as words, also has reverse ordinal gematria of 218, similar to how death equates to 218 in English Extended. At the same time, death equates to 20 in reduction gematria, and here she died on the 20th day of the year in 1993, emphasis on 93. In light of the year of her passing, notice Her birthday was May 4th or 5-4, similar to 54. Wow. You see that? Okay. As we learned earlier, Sun, S-U-N, has gematria of 54, and it is said to be 93 million miles away. For one more mathematical intricacy, she died 104 days shy of her birthday at age 63, and the divisors of the number 63 sums to 104. In light of her age of passing, let us not forget Freemasonic equates to 63, sums to 63. And Hepburn, her name, Hepburn's, equates to 39 in reduction, dead in 93, reflection of 39. Wow. Gosh, my nose keep itching. I wish it would stop. It's just really very annoying. Okay. Now I want to get through this one with no mistakes, because this stuff is just crazy. James Raymond Jordan Sr., July 31st, 1936. July 23rd, 1993. You know, the one thing that I've never been able to find this news report, with the information age as it is today. But I remember watching a news clip, and the reporter stating that, repeating what one of the guys that was blamed for Michael Jordan's murder, saying that he was dead when they found him. And I've never found that report anymore. Maybe I haven't done maybe the due diligence of finding it, but I do remember a news report stating that the young men claimed that Mr. Jordan was already deceased when they found him. So now I'm gonna see what does the gematria reveal behind the death of Mr. Raymond Jordan Sr. Okay, so start over here. James Raymond Jordan Sr., July 31st, 1936 until July 23rd, 1993. The father of Michael Jordan, the basketball great, would die 33 days 33 days after his son won his third consecutive NBA Finals in 1993. Emphasis on 93. Okay. So, consider NBA Finals and Michael both equate to 33 in reduction gematria. And here we are talking about a black man dead in 93 in relation to 33. For another connection to 33, written as word, the death came 156 days after Jordan's 30th birthday, February 17th. Nigger equals 30. Also worth mentioning, Jordan won the championship in 93 on June 20th, which was a date with numerology of 26, connecting to the reduction gematria of Jordan, and a number symbolizing God. At the same time, in the septenary cipher, Saturn equates to 26, a number very relevant to space, as you learned in chapter 1. And as a reminder, Saturn symbolizes Satan to the gang. For another Saturn connection in the satanic cipher, Saturn sums to 303, and so does the name of his father, James Raymond Jordan Sr., in the reverse ordinal cipher. Excuse me. Even more important, his father's name sums to 237 in ordinal gematria, corresponding perfectly with the date of his passing, July 23rd or 23/7, 237. Wow. If you dare multiply those digits together, 2 times 3 times 7, the product is also 42. A number corresponding with Saturn as well, plus everything else you have learned. Wow. He died just shy of his 57th birthday, which would have been July 31st, the same date Bruce Lee was buried, which, as you learn, also brings us back to Saturn. As for 57, that was a number we covered extensively in the chapter on NASA, outer space, and the Scottish Rite. In this case, both the NBA Finals and NBA Finals have gematria of 57. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. So, this stuff is just so devastating, and it's just so, just mind-blowing, and it's really takes the wind out of your sails to know that these people are willingly participating in things that are going to take your loved one away. It's crazy. Alright, moving right along. Frank Zappa, December 21st, 1940 to December 4th, 1993. Okay. The legendary musician Frank Zappa died at age 52, corresponding with the reverse reduction of Frank Zappa. He also passed on a date with numerology of 38, in the most fitting of locations for the date, Hollywood Hills, California, summing to 124 in reduction. Much like December 4th or 12/4/124. As for him passing in the year 93, recall that Saturn equals 93 and is the keeper of time, a word having gematria of 47. In the case of Frank Zappa, his name also equates to 47 in reduction, and he was born on a date with numerology of 47. Also relevant, if you write out 93, it sums to 55, like December, sacrifice, and Saturn. You'll recall from earlier learning, Saturn and Satan share an esoteric relationship in spirituality and in gematria. Again, it is the synagogue of Satan who are responsible for murder by numbers, and it is clear who their sacrifices are made to: Satan. In light of the routine coding of 38, 52, and 83, you should also know the word altar, where sacrifices are often made, has gematria of 38, 52, and 83. My goodness, my goodness. John Candy, man, I really like John Candy in his movies. Oh my goodness. John Candy, October 31st, 1950 to March 4th, 1994. My goodness. John Candy would be found dead in his sleep March 4th, 1994 at age 43. That's all. I thought he was a little older than that. At age 43. Consider murder has gematria of 34 and killing has gematria of 43. Both numbers that correspond with his date of death and reflect with his age. Adding insult to injury, he was filming the movie Wagons East, having gematria of 34. At his time of passing, wow, magically, he also died 34 weeks and 3 days before his 44th birthday. Even more, the name John Candy sums to 94, making him right for a sacrifice in the year 94. Wow. Kurt Cobain, another Seattleite. Okay. Kurt Cobain, February 20th, 1967. April 5th, 1994. Wow. Cobain, a name with gematria of 44, would be found dead 44 days after his 27th birthday in the city of Seattle, having gematria of 44. Cobain is also a member of the 27 Club, having birth numerology of 27, being born in the fateful year of 67, reminding of the gematria of Jimmy, Jimi, who was also from Seattle on the 47th parallel north, the right coordinate for being a rock legend. For the record, rock legend and Nirvana all share gematria of 47. Even more specific to the city, the date his body was discovered was a date with numerology of 122, and Seattle resides on the 122nd meridian west, the number connecting to Freemason as well as Elohim. It serves as a reminder the Freemasons in control of the entertainment industry think they're God, killing by the language that is believed to be God's code, Kabbalah. These suckers. Many of Cobain's fans speculated it was his spouse, Courtney Love, who killed him. Interestingly, Courtney Love would turn 30 years old July 9th, 1994, 95 days after Cobain's body was found on the 95th day of the year. Not by chance, the name Courtney, Courtney, has reverse ordinal gematria of 95. At the same time, heroin was associated with Cobain, and the drug has Francis Bacon gematria of 95. Double codes here. For another nugget, her birthday can be expressed as 79, similar to 79, and Nirvana has ordinal gematria of 79, like murder. 79. You could also say that from Cobain's death to her birthday was a span of 96 days, connecting to the word Freemason. This is interesting because Courtney Love has reduction gematria of 58, just the same as Freemasonry. For another, Kurt Donald Cobain, the full name of the artist, has gematria of 97, like death, and also like how his ex-wife's birthday can be expressed as 97. The one person to benefit the most from Cobain's passing was Dave Grohl, Davegrohl, the drummer of Nirvana, who would go on to establish the band Foo Fighters. From Grohl's 25th birthday, January 14, 1994, to the discovery of Cobain's body, April 5th, was 81 days, the number connecting to ritual. Damn. In the case of his full name, David Eric Grohl, it also shares gematria of 81. Making matters even more interesting, the name Kurt Cobain has ordinal gematria of 114, not unlike his birthday, January 14th. Damn. As for the name Dave Grohl, it has gematria of 47, fitting in with the rock and Nirvana picture. The name Grohl alone has gematria of 33, connecting to rock star. In total, doesn't it all seem a little too perfect? Absolutely. Sometimes it makes me think all of this stuff is planned theater to sell records and create narratives. For example, one of Grohl's most cherished songs, Post-Nirvana is Everlong, having gematria of 44. Many people contend this song is a tribute to Kurt Cobain, but Grohl does deny this. That said, the gematria of 44 is hard to deny. I also want to mention that Lynn Stanley, born August 22nd, 1967, another Seattle rock star from the grunge era, would be found dead on April 5th, 2002, his 227th day of being 35 years old, the 8-year anniversary of the death of Cobain. Consider, heroin is known as H, which is the 8th letter. The cause of death for Staley, and I said Stanley earlier, but it's Staley, Staley. The cause of death for Staley was blamed on speedball, which is a mix of heroin and cocaine. As for him being found on the 95th day of the year, let us examine the gematria of speedball as well as his name. So speedball equates to 95 in reverse reduction, P counted as 11 and E counted as 22. Heroin equals 95 in Francis Bacon cipher. Lane Staley, Layne Staley, Lane Staley. His name, Lane Staley, equates to 95, reverse reduction, E counted as 22. Amazing. In the case of Lane Staley, his name gematria also corresponded with the distance in days from his birthday that his body was found, the anniversary of Cobain's passing. Wow, so Lane Staley equates to 139 in ordinal, and he's dead 139 days before his 36th birthday. Okay, so moving right along, Kristen Pfaff, Kristen Pfaff, Kristen Pfaff. Okay, May 26, 1967 to June 16, 1994. The same year as the passing of Cobain, and in the same city, the bassist for Hole, Courtney Love's band, would die from a heroin overdose. To keep this short and sweet, notice her name gematria in light of the death of her death and heroin. Wow. Let me read that one more time. To keep this short and sweet, notice her name gematria in light of the year of her death and heroin. Gotcha. So, Kristen Pfaff equates to 94, reverse reduction. P counted as 11, E counted as 22. Kristen Marie Pfaff equates to 147, reverse reduction. P counted as 11, E counted as 22. 94, when you write it out as a word, equates to 147 in the ordinal cipher. Kristen Pfaff also equates to 67, reverse reduction. Kristen equates to 122, Francis Bacon, Seattle on the 122nd meridian. Kristen equates to 93 in reverse ordinal. Heroin equates to 93, reverse ordinal. Wow. Ooh, Jeffrey Dahmer, the Milwaukee cannibal. May 21st, 1960 to November 28, 1994. Okay. Dahmer would die 191 days after his 34th birthday, supposedly being beaten to death in prison. Wow. The reason that is funny is because his full name, Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, sums to 191 in ordinal gematria. Recall, 191 is the 43rd prime, and as we know, the word murder equates to 34, while the word killing sums to 43. For another riddle, Dahmer supposedly murdered 17 people in Wisconsin. As we have learned, the word kill has gematria of 17 and 44, and Wisconsin has reduction gematria of 44, as well as reverse ordinal gematria of 118, the latter number connecting to death. Dahmer's full name also yields familiar gematria of 101, connecting to assassin, 97 connecting to death, and 322 connecting to a number of things that are important to Freemasonry. Also relevant, they said Dahmer was responsible for cannibalism, which has gematria of 43 and 97, corresponding with the coding of his life and death. As for the name Dahmer alone, Dahmer, it yields gematria of 113. And if you ask me, Dahmer appears to have been an MK Ultra project, playing the part of a psychopathic killer for some additional mainstream fear cooked up by the long noses. As we know, their code is letters and numbers, and the entire Dahmer story is just that, including his apartment number 213 on 25th Street, where both numbers connect to death. For one last kicker, the date of his passing was the day that leaves 33 days left in the year, and the name Jeffrey has reverse reduction gematria of 33, as well as septenary gematria of 33. Even more, 1128 creates numerology of 39, and Jeffrey has reduction gematria of 39. Wow. Alrighty. Eric Wright, Eazy-E, September 7, 1964 to March 26, 1995. On December 7, 1993, Ice Cube released the album Lethal Injection, having reduction gematria of 67, corresponding with Killer and Blood Sacrifice. Exactly 444 days after the release, February 24th, 1995, Eric Wright, aka Eazy-E, his former rap group member from NWA, would be diagnosed with AIDS. In Sumerian gematria, Masonic and killing have gematria of 444. As for AIDS, it has reverse reduction gematria, and Eric Wright would die 30 days after his diagnosis. Let me see. As for AIDS, it has, let me get it because he missed it there, so I will look it up, and I'm sure it meant 30. So let me do it here. AIDS. Let me do base ciphers. Yes. Okay, as for AIDS, it has reverse reduction gematria of 30. And Eric Wright would die 30 days after his diagnosis at the age of 30, March 26, 1995. On the subject of AIDS, it also has ordinal gematria of 33, and yes it does, corresponding with the reduction gematria of Compton, the city Eric called home, which is located on the 33rd parallel north. Oh my goodness. As for his full name, Eric Lynn Wright, Lynn, Eric Lynn Wright, it had reduction gematria of 86, corresponding with the reverse reduction gematria of Blood Sacrifice. It was also the year 86 that the hip-hop group NWA was established. The name Eric alone equates to 26, similar to kill and he died on the 26th of March. As for his date of birth, September 7 is a date that can be expressed as 7-9, similar to 79 for murder, or 9-7, similar to 97 for death. As you know, this was the date Tupac was shot on, another rapper claiming Los Angeles, the home of the 213. Wow. This stuff is just, goodness gracious. Phyllis Hyman, July 6, 1949 to June 30th, 1995. The woman born Phyllis Linda Hyman, summing to 86 in reverse reduction and 257 in reverse ordinal, just the same as blood sacrifice, would reportedly die from a drug overdose. Not by chance, Phyllis Hyman and drug overdose equate to 63 in reduction. Consider the date of her passing, June 30th or 6-3 or 6:30. Even more, June 30th, 1995 was a date with numerology of 33. You would add 6 plus 3 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 5. That equates to 33. And drugs have gematria of 33 in reduction when S is counted for 10. So I will read that one more time. Even more, June 30th, 1995 was a date with numerology of 33, and drugs have gematria of 33 in reduction when S is counted for 10. It is speculated by many that Clive Davis, born April 4th, 1932, killed her for the benefit of Whitney Houston's career. There are a number of interesting things with this theory, starting with the fact that she died on Clive Davis's 88th day of being 63 years old. As you have learned, poison has ordinal value of 88, and arsenic poisoning has reduction gematria of 88. Even more, Hyman's most remembered track while recording with Davis was You Know How to Love Me, having a reduction value of 88. And I love Phyllis Hyman's music. It's crazy that they kill these people this way. Loved Whitney Houston too. As for Whitney Houston, she was 31 years old at the time. Consider the name Whitney sums to 31 in reverse reduction, and the name Houston sums to 31 in reduction as well. Phyllis Hyman's death came 40 days before Whitney's 32nd birthday. This is interesting because both Whitney and Houston have gematria of 40 as well as in the base ciphers, and Houston also sums to 32 in reverse reduction. Further, you could say the death came a span of 41 days before Whitney's birthday, and both Whitney and Houston have gematria of 41 in the base ciphers too. In other words, this is a whole lot of lining up in a ritual of murder by numbers. Lastly, as you'll learn later, Whitney Houston would die on the 42nd day of the year, February 11th, or 11-2, corresponding with the ordinal value of Houston, summing to 112. In the case of Phyllis, she died on the 181st day of the year, which is the 42nd prime number. In light of these women being beautiful black recording artists, the number 42 goes without saying. Oh my goodness. And I remember where I was coming from South Central Mall. I was on the freeway the day that they announced Whitney Houston's death, February 11th. I forget what year now. I want to say 2012. But it's just horrible. But I'm sure Whitney Houston's death is in here as well, so we'll get to that too. So, moving right along. Shannon Hoon. I don't know who this is, but we shall find out. And you may know, but we'll see. Shannon Hoon, Hoon, September 26, 1967 to October 21st, 1995. Shannon Hoon, the singer from the Blind Melon, would die 67 days after the release of the band's second album, Soup, which debuted August 15, 1995. His death was blamed on an overdose, of course. On an overdose. Okay. As you know, Blood Sacrifice and Soul share gematria of 67. And in Hoon's case, he was born in the year 67. It's interesting to note that the album reached number 28 on the U.S. sales chart, matching his age of passing, and a number connecting to the gematria of Kiel. It is also interesting that his date of passing, October 21, leaves 71 days left in the year, and Soup has an ordinal gematria of 71. Further, from his 28th birthday to the day he died was 25 days, corresponding with the reverse reduction gematria of death, proving faithful for him was the fact that the name of the band, Blind Melon, has gematria of 46 and 170 in the base cipher, same as sacrifice. Oh my goodness. Okay, moving right along. George Burns, January 20th, 1896 to March 9th, 1996. I'm going to read the headline next to, before I read the information about him. George Burns, the cigar-puffing comedian who was the best comic straight man of his time in a partnership with the brilliantly scatterbrained Gracie Allen, and who began a solo career when he was nearly 80, died. Gracie Allen, and who began a solo career when he was nearly 80, died yesterday. He was 100 years old, and his career in show business lasted 93 years. So, here we go. George Burns died on March 9th, or it can be expressed as 9-3. After 93 years in show business, according to the New York Times, who reported what is shown in the blurb, March 10th, 1996. As we know, Saturn has ordinal gematria of 93, and March 9th also happens to be the 68th day of the year, corresponding with the ordinal gematria of planet. However, it should be noted that 1996 was a leap year, making March 9th the 69th day of that year, corresponding with the reverse ordinal gematria of 69. As for George Burns dying on what is typically the 68th day, both George Burns and Beverly Hills have reduction gematria of 68 when S is counted for 10. Okay. Bradley Nowell, Sublime, February 22nd, 1968 to May 25th, 1996. All right. Bradley Nowell, Nowell. Sublime's frontman was reported dead 93 days after his 28th birthday from a heroin overdose, summing to 93, the same as Saturn. When you write out 93, it also sums to 55, matching the numerology of his date of passing. Interestingly, he had just married on May 18th, the 139th day of 1996. Emphasis on 96. Even more interesting, his death came a span of 67 days from the release of Sublime's upcoming self-titled album, which released July 30th, 1996. Familiar numbers, eh? Absolutely. Okay, Tupac Shakur, June 16th, 1971 to September 13th, 1996. Okay. Tupac would release his final studio album, All Eyes on Me, February 13th, 1996, and he would die exactly 213 days later due to complications from a shooting on September 7th in Las Vegas, Nevada. More specifically, he died from complications due to a drive-by shooting having reverse ordinal of 213. As you know, February 13th is the 44th day of the year, and both the numbers 44 and 213 connect to the gematria of shooting. As for his date of passing, September 13th, or 13/9, it corresponded perfectly with his artist name. In ordinal gematria, Tupac Shakur sums to 139, just the same as Freemasonry. Consider he also passed in 96, the number corresponding with the gematria of Freemason. His full adopted name, Tupac Amaru Shakur, also had reduction gematria of 58, and his middle name is spelled Amaru. Okay? Okay, let me start over. His full adopted name, Tupac Amaru Shakur, also had reduction gematria of 58, further connecting to Freemasonry, and ordinal gematria of 193, the 44th prime, bringing us back to shooting. Even more, his date of passing was one with numerology of 38 and 118, both numbers connecting to death. In the case of 118, his birth name, Lassane Parish Crooks, it also equated to 118. For another 118, his rap group Outlaws, Outlawz, also shared this gematria, and many members of it would soon meet their fateful demise, dying by the code. The first of which was Yaki Gaddafi, summing to 42, dying 58 days after Tupac, or a span of 59 days later, November 10th, 1996. Please consider how each of those numbers correspond to Freemasonry, and how 42 and 59 are the numbers of black history dating back to Jesus. Yaki Gaddafi would also die on his 33rd day of being just 19 years old. Exactly 7 weeks and 4 days after Tupac's death, the album Machiavelli, the Don Illuminati, the 7-Day Theory would release. So the name of the album is Machiavelli, the Don Illuminati, the 7-Day Theory would release. On the album cover, Tupac is shown on the cross. In gematria terms, Tupac, Machiavelli, rapper, cross, killing, Jesus, and Jesus Christ all equate to 74, using the 4 base ciphers. Consider the word cross also has gematria of 38. Same with death, murder, killing, and rapper. And again, Tupac died on a date numerology of 38. The release date of the Machiavelli album was November 5th, 1996, a date that can be expressed as 11/5/115, connecting to killing, Freemasons, and Masonic. It can also be expressed as 511, connecting to Saturn, which equates to 511 in Jewish Gematria. Consider the relationship with Saturn and death, especially in regards to the crucifix and God's Son, S-O-N, as we learned about earlier discussing the death of Jesus Christ. With regards to Tupac being shot on September 7th, or 9/7, let us not forget that 97 is the 25th prime, and both 97 and 25 correspond to the gematria of death in the base ciphers. Even more, Tupac was 25 years old at the time of death, dying 2 months and 28 days after his June 16th birthday, or 89 days later. As you'll recall, the Gospel, having gematria of 74, is 89 chapters long. The number 89 is also the 11th Fibonacci number, and Jesus has reduction gematria of 11. Please also take a moment to look at the image shown. It is supposed to be the last picture of Tupac taken moments before his death, riding alongside Suge Knight. There are 2 things wrong with the picture, however. One is the date, September 8th, which is the day after the shooting, and 2 are the missing keys in the ignition in 1996, where, in 1996 there were no keyless ignitions. As for the date mistake, you could argue that the camera that took the photo was just a day off, which is possible, but personally I think this was yet another riddle, and I do too. The date of September 8th is said to be the birthday of Jesus Christ's mother. You'll recall David Koresh, who was a Jesus-like figure, had a mother with a September 8th birthday, as we covered. So, I don't know if you can see this picture. I'm trying to blow it up and show it. But I'm on a different little tiny tablet this time, so yeah, it's not gonna. But the date of the picture does say 9/8/96. So, and you can go and search the picture of Tupac the last time he was with Suge Knight. Okay, so let's continue on with the information about Tupac. Okay. Speaking of mothers, Tupac's Afeni Shakur would die May 2nd, 2016, a date that can be written 2/5/25, reminding of her son dying at age 25. Her death was not announced, however, until May 3rd, 2016, which is the real Machiavelli's birthday, who Tupac's rap alias was in tribute to. Even more, his November 5th, 1996 album released 53 days after his death, similar to the date May 3rd, or 5/3, and corresponding with the word religion. For the record, the name Afeni Shakur also has gematria of 59 as well as 67, right for a Negro female who was murdered by the code. She was also a member of the Black Panther Party, having reduction gematria of 74, tying into her son's rap name. For a little more knowledge, Fred and Hampton are names both having gematria of 33, like the age of crucifixion for Jesus. And he was the Black Panther, murdered by the FBI in a hail of bullets December 4th, 1969, which happens to be the date of birth for the rapper Jay-Z, who we will learn more about ahead. As for the term Black Panther, it has reversed ordinal gematria of 213, corresponding with Black History Month. And of course, Tupac's death in relation to the release of his film All Eyes on Me, where he hints numerous times of his coming fate. Outside of those clues and the cover of the Machiavelli album, Tupac was also in the music video for the song Smile by Scarface, and in that same production he was on the cross. At the same time, one of his last music videos released was for the song I Ain't Mad at You, where he is shown in heaven. Crazy, crazy, crazy. JonBenet Ramsey, August 6, 1990 to December 25th, 1996. This was the story of the death of a little girl who was a child beauty pageant winner. Let us begin with the fact that she died in the 38th state, Colorado, having gematria of 38, just the same as Christmas, again, which is the number of death. Even more, Colorado and Boulder, Colorado, the town where she was killed, share gematria of 83, also corresponding with murder. As for the name JonBenet, it has gematria of 37, the same as December, and corresponding with the numerology of the date of her death, December 25th, or 12 plus 25 equates to 37. December also has gematria of 55, corresponding with sacrifice and Satan, and the year of her passing, 96, connects to the gematria of child beauty pageant, which was a tremendous focus of the story. The number 96 also connects to Freemason and Satanism. As for beauty pageant alone, it has gematria of 213, another infamous number of death. In the story, her parents became murder suspects. The mother, who was a former beauty pageant winner, was Patricia Ann Ramsey, a name summing to 79 like murder, and 187, a common homicide code. The father was John Ramsey, a name summing to 142, corresponding with the fact that his daughter died on the 142nd day, being 6 years old. And as for her birthday, notice it was August 6th, which can be expressed as 8-6, similar to 86, connecting to blood sacrifice. These are some sick bastards. After much investigation, the story would conclude as an unsolved mystery. As for the girl, she would be buried in Marietta, Georgia, a town with gematria of 33, on the 33rd parallel north, in St. James Episcopal Cemetery, summing to 137, the 33rd prime. On the subject of 33, it is worth mentioning that her date of death was also 141 days after her 6th birthday, where 33 written as a word equates to 141 in gematria terms. Wow. Christopher Wallace, Notorious B.I.G., May 21st, 1972 to March 9th, 1997. Tupac's date of death, 9/13/1996. When you add it together, 9 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 6. That equates to 38. 9/13/96. You add 9 plus 13 plus 96 equates to 118. Notorious B.I.G.'s date of death, 3/9/1997. And when you add that together, you add it this way. 3 plus 9 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 7. That equates to 38. Like Tupac, Notorious B.I.G. would die on a date with numerology of 38, dying a span of 74 days before his 25th birthday, after being shot in Los Angeles, the home of the 213 area code. In addition to the list of 74 we've already discussed, the nickname Biggie Smalls, which Notorious went by, had Gematria of 74. Adding to the intrigue, Tupac released a song titled Hit 'Em Up, having Gematria of 38 and 97. That was a threat on Notorious B.I.G.'s life. With regards to the number 97, that correlates with his year of passing, 97, where the name Notorious also shares Gematria of 97. Even more, Notorious died on the 68th day of the year, and the name Tupac Shakur shares Gematria of 68. The two biggest beneficiaries of the death of Notorious were Puff Daddy and Jay-Z. We'll begin with Jay-Z and his record label that became tremendously more popular in the wake of Biggie's passing. The label is Rockefeller Records, having Gematria of 74 and 97, the same numbers standing out in Notorious B.I.G.'s death. For another 97, Jay-Z's real last name is Carter, having reverse ordinal Gematria of 97, and 97 was definitely his year, as we'll get to. On the day of Notorious B.I.G.'s passing, it was Jay-Z's 96th day of being 27 years old, where the number 96 symbolizes Freemason. Of course, Jay-Z is a Freemason, and he is named accordingly, with his rap name having Gematria of 17 and 62, just the same as Mason. Please visit my blog at freetofindtruth.blogspot.com to see the image of Jay-Z in his local Masonic lodge wearing his Freemason attire, complete with his bow tie. A span of 115 days from Biggie's death, Puff Daddy's debut album would release, titled No Way Out. As you know, the number 115 connects to Masonic, Freemasons, and killing. It also connects to Biggie Smalls. If you notice, the abbreviation for the album is also NWO, not unlike New World Order, which is controlled by Freemasonry. As you learned earlier, New World Order has Gematria of 177, and the deaths of Tupac and Notorious came 177 days apart. Related, on that album, the 8th track is titled Young G's. Oh man, like the G on the fucking compass. And it features Jay-Z and Notorious B.I.G. For most people, this was the first time they ever heard Jay-Z on a track, who was a nobody in the world of hip-hop up to that point, outside of New York. Wow. On that track, Jay-Z says, "Solemnly we mourn all the rappers that's gone, niggas that got killed in the field, and all the babies born. No, they ain't fully prepared for this new world order." The length of the track is 325 seconds. 325 seconds, corresponding with the Gematria of Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which has the logo with the capital G in the middle, corresponding with the name of the song, Young G's. Oh my god, this is just some sick shit. Interestingly, it is said that the killer of Notorious was wearing a bow tie. This is typical in Masonic lodges, and the word bow tie has Gematria of 74. I often wonder if it might have been Jay-Z himself who shot and killed Notorious. It could have been a number of other Freemasons, but as I mentioned before, in which the rapper Noriega has testified to climb in the world of entertainment, you have to participate in ritual killing or sodomy, where there is no way out of it. Regarding the word Freemason, it has satanic gematria of 411, and Puff Daddy's birthday is November 4 or 411. Further, the name Puff Daddy has gematria of 42, the number stamped on Black history, but is also representing Mason and the G, and which is coded on more rapper names than you would believe until you start decoding. As for his updated name, P. Diddy, it shares gematria of 62, just like Jay-Z, just like Eazy-E, just like Q-Tip, and so many more names you know from the world of hip-hop. Remember, it is the long noses running the record industry and no doubt putting their stamp on these artists while also indoctrinating them into their ways. Also significant, Puff Daddy's real name, Sean John Combs, has reversed ordinal gematria of 213, corresponding with Black history, as well as Biggie's place of death, the 213. Even more, Biggie died on Wilshire, having gematria of 113, the same as Bad Boy, Puff's record label. I should also note that Bad Boy Records also has gematria of 59, a number connected to Black history as well as killing. Another person who benefited from the death of Mr. Smalls was his wife, Faith Evans, who turned 24 years old 93 days after his death. Recall, the sun, Thesun, the sun has gematria of 24 and is 93 million miles away. Even more, the name Faith Evans has gematria of 42. And so does the name Wallace, B.I.G.'s surname. Wow. In 2017, on May 19th, the 139th day of the year, Faith Evans released a duet album featuring lyrics from her late husband titled The King and I, having gematria of 47, the same as Notorious. Interestingly, both Jay-Z and Puff Daddy were 47 years old at the time, like the degrees on the compasses above the G in the Masonic logo. The 25th and final track from that song is titled It Was Worth It, having gematria of 139, corresponding with the date of release. No doubt, this speaks to her saying that the death of her husband was worth the life and fame she has gained from it. Say it ain't so. Consider, this album came out while she was 43 years old, connecting to Masonic and killing, and just before Faith turned 44 years old, 22 days later. Speaking of 44, the mother of Notorious B.I.G., Voletta Wallace, having name gematria of 44 with the reduction method, was 44 years old at the time of her son's killing. Also intriguing is her name has reverse ordinal gematria of 226, and it is said she raised her son Christopher at the address 226 St. James Place in New York City. Consider B.I.G.'s date of death, March 9th, which can be expressed as 39 like 39, corresponding with the reduction gematria of Biggie, as well as New York, or 93, a lot like 93, the number that has a relationship with 226. Even more, Bed-Stuy, where he called home, has gematria of 33, 39, 93 and 96. At the same time, Brooklyn, New York has gematria of 74 and 223. In other words, the territory couldn't be more Masonic and is a community that is no stranger to ritual killing by the numbers. This is crazy. Speaking of rituals in Brooklyn, on March 12, 2017, the Brooklyn Nets, partly owned by Jay-Z with the help of P. Diddy, hosted Big E Night, having gematria of 97. Consider, both men were 47 years old at the time. Then that night, they raised a banner, number 72, for Notorious B.I.G., who was born in the year 72. But more than that, the word hip-hop has ordinal gematria of 72. On the banner were his well-remembered lyrics, "Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way." On the banner were his well-remembered lyrics, "Spread love is the Brooklyn way." In reduction gematria, those lyrics sum to 125, and the reason that is interesting is because his album, which came out 16 days after his death, March 25th, 1997, titled Life After Death, released 125 days after Diddy's 27th birthday, and released on a date with numerology of 125. So 3, 25, 97, you add together 3 plus 25 plus 97, that equates to 125. In Kabbalah, there are 125 degrees of spirituality, and the word spiritual has gematria of 125. Even more, if you write out 125 as words, it has gematria of 223, reminding that Kabbalah's tree of life has 22 paths and 3 columns connecting to the 10 Sephiroth. For a bit more, notice how the date of release, March 25th, can be expressed as 325, not unlike 325, the number of seconds long the song Young G's is. Wow. Which again corresponds with Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, as well as the year the Council of Nicaea took place for another Masonic tribute. In 2017, Jay-Z would release his 444 album precisely 158 days before his 48th birthday. Recall, in English and Hebrew, Freemason sums to 48 in English. And in English, Freemasonry has reversed ordinal gematria of 158. So I'm going to read that one more time, okay? For another Masonic tribute, in 2017, Jay-Z would release his 444 album precisely 158 days before his 48th birthday. Recall, in English and Hebrew, Freemason sums to 48, and in English, Freemasonry has reversed ordinal gematria of 158. Also worth mentioning, on September 11, 2001, Jay-Z's album, The Blueprint, released, having gematria of 174, connecting to New World Order and False Flag. Think that was a coincidence? Absolutely not. And that will conclude my reading for today. And please excuse me for having to scratch my nose. That was just, I don't know, sometimes my allergy medicine don't work as well as it should. And I just itch a lot. But I just hope you just understand this information. Take it in, get this book, read it, and understand what gematria is, and just become aware. And until then, I will be back with the with a 4th reading in chapter 19. And you guys have a good evening. Bye-bye.